Iranian war.
The gentleman is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding. Ladies and gentlemen, General Anthony Zinni and other retired generals have been outspoken in their opposition to the planning and execution of our occupation of Iraq. But our administration rejected their sound recommendations, which predicted exactly what would happen if we didn't plan for the occupation. These generals explained that our forces were not provided enough resources to do the job, that we alienated allies that could have helped in rebuilding Iraq, and that the Defense Department ignored planning for the post-war occupation, unaware of the growing insurgency there. I've heard from too many military families, those children of theirs who've been wounded or killed in duty. Their grief is so much harder to bear knowing that often we did not adequately equip their sons and daughters in battle. Back home, I've met many times with Lila Lipscomb, a proud mother from Flint, Michigan, who lost her son Michael in Iraq. Initially, Mrs. Lipscomb supported the war on the assumption that the government knew best. A week after finding out her son had died, she received a letter from her son in which he forcefully argued that we should not be in Iraq because there was no connection between Iraq and Osama bin Laden. Cindy Sheehan lost her son Casey in Iraq and became a voice for mothers of soldiers who opposed the war. Cindy's loss motivated her to unite with other grieving mothers in opposition to the war, and her willingness to speak truth to power has drawn attention to the misconduct of the war and the terrible price that servicemen and women and their families have paid. Let me tell you this. We need to encourage our friends and allies around the globe to help with Iraqi reconstruction and peacekeeping. We just don't have sufficient resources to manage this work on our own. We haven't learned from the first Gulf War. If we can bring the international community into Iraq to help establish a democracy, protect its citizens, rebuild its infrastructure, it will free American forces and resources to address the real problem we face, terrorism. Let's heed the advice of our colleague John Murtha and redeploy our troops to find Osama bin Laden and fight terrorists. If we can shatter the
Time has expired.
Can I get 15 seconds?
15 seconds.
Gentleman's recognized.
If we can shatter the myth that occupying Iraq is the same thing as fighting terrorism, then these 10 hours of debate tonight will have been worth something after all.
Gentleman's time has expired.